As part of eliciting reaction to Walkerville's draft strategic plan, Council wanted an innovative consultation process that was both dynamic and proactive, and more effectively involved the wider community, thus allowing early access to the process and genuine contribution to the outcomes. A process where the opinions, concerns and expertise of the community as a whole matter. The consultation process was designed to set the tone for Walkerville's future ongoing community engagement. A total of 152 people attended the 3 community forums. In the initial session, with the theme of a lively local culture, the goals presented were perceived as being full of jargon, lacking direction and detail, and many questions were raised about how the projects would be funded. But for the second and third sessions, sensitive environments and development and an economically successful community, the proposed goals received much better reactions and more favourable levels of appeal, with the consultation positioned as being exploratory. There was a heavy degree of scepticism evident across all 3 forums. Overall, the results indicate that Walkerville has a very engaged community, with a strong desire to know more about Council's plans. The community also wants more action from Council, not just words. People who attended the forums, in the main, weren't really sure about what Walkerville was doing in terms of collaboration with other councils and the existing environmental maintenance. But there was a strong desire to get rid of the algae, rubbish and weeds along Linear Park. In fact, overall, the community felt that open spaces and greenery were considered more important than roads within the town of Walkerville. One of the interesting outcomes of the forums, which evidenced a disconnect between suburbs within Walkerville, was that only people living close to Main North Road and North East Road were interested in creating business opportunities in that area. The reaction to encouraging home businesses received a lack of interest, with a recommendation to restrict such activity to professional businesses where minimal extra traffic would be generated. Communication was also a hot topic, and it's clear that the profile of Council's communication needs to be raised and reinforced. The introduction of new communication platforms and the promotion, improvement and more efficient use of existing platforms is a high priority. And communication platform reminders should be included with each rates notice. It's also important to bear in mind the demographic profile of Walkerville and the consequent resistance to online communication. The community is also asking for more leadership from its elected members, and while communication's important, that needs to go hand in hand with action on the councillor's behalf. The top 10 priorities from the 3 community forums were the development of Walkerville Terrace and the new Woolworth Shopping Centre, more restaurants and entertainment along the town's main street. More park areas, trees, maintaining Linear Park, more barbecues and playgrounds. Better traffic management, speed signs, more parking. To promote local business and provide incentives for it. And when it comes to new developments, plan them well and protect the locals. Improve communication. Increase the population. Focus on community involvement. Maintain the small village feel of Walkerville and create a brand for the town.
The forums have been an unusual new initiative, but it's been useful in reaching parts of the community we don't usually hear from. We've discovered that people want to see more and better communication from Council and from the elected members. There's a lot of scepticism about how all of this could be just words, but this is precisely why we're engaging in this process. Activation was another key demand, and you'll see more of this very soon. Traffic was a recurring theme. While there is a limit to what an inner suburban council can do about traffic, it's very high on our list of ongoing concerns. All in all, I think it's been a very worthwhile exercise, and I think you'll see the results when the strategic plan is activated.
I think we had a fairly positive reaction to them. It was nice to see the residents coming together, sharing ideas, answering questions, doing a little bit of debating, and the opportunity to meet with elected members and the mayor, and I thought that was a good move. The major thing that came through to me was that a lot of people, a lot of residents have an idea that council is able to control a lot more than it actually does. Our prerogatives aren't that great. We've got to work within all sorts of legislation, federal, state, and the Local Government Act, and as such it doesn't give us a lot of manoeuvring space. Like one of the questions that came up was what sort of retail would we like to see on Walkerville Terrace? And we have no control over business or type of business other than not allowing industrial or whatever. But people think we have that prerogative, in fact we don't.
I think the 3 forums were very useful because we did get some feedback that will help us to do better. But generally, having read the summaries, there was some good news for us and some maybe not so good news. I think the good news was that people perceive that we are doing a reasonably good job and that we are a transparent council that wants to communicate. Further to that, there was a view that we could do more in communication. I think that's a lesson for us that although we try and communicate in different media, not everybody sees everything that we put out, and so we have to use as many different media as we can, newspapers, the regular column in the Messenger, but not everybody sees it. Not everyone has access to the internet or wants to read emails regularly, so we have to do more in that area. And of course rate notices were suggested, but many people only get rate notices once a year, so that's not going to fulfil our obligations. I would like to see us invite some of the members of the focus group or other ratepayers back occasionally as an ongoing focus group so that we do get some regular feedback on what we're trying to do. We have to recognise that we can't be all things to all people, and while different wishes were expressed, we also have to look at our budget and make sure we deliver on what we promise. And that was probably the biggest message for me.
I thought it was really wonderful that as a community that we could get together and discuss in such an open and frank manner the future of our town. And there were some great ideas and good opinions that came out throughout the forums. What stood out and was a recurring theme, which is a positive, is everybody who lives, works and plays in Walkerville really loves our town, and they understand the uniqueness of it. However, there was another message that came through very strongly too for me, and that was that we need to regenerate or recreate the town's hub. Now, historically, I believe the town centre was Walkerville Terrace between Stephen Terrace and Smith Street. Now, I have no doubt that when the Woolworths complex takes off, there'll be lots of people and lots more traffic in the area. And to me, our great challenge will be to get those people out onto Walkerville Terrace on foot and give them a reason to spend time there and spend money there, which is very important.
It's quite clear that the community does want us to invest in community events. On the environmental side, the attention to the linear park is obviously considered one of the highest priorities we should be looking at, and that of course does become very important, that linear park facility as development increases. On the development of the town centre, I think that one of the most important things, and I've been saying this in the chamber, is the fact that we're going to have to go right back to basics and question every option in terms of traffic management, because there's no doubt that the development we expect, the Woolworths development, this is bringing into what was really a village environment a volume of traffic and activity which the environment was never designed to actually accommodate in the first instance. So we really have got to look very closely at that and do all we can to manage that so that the development doesn't obliterate the characteristics of the area. I note that the community is keen to see their elected members out there more and engaging with them, and we need to look at how we're going to do that more in the future. And of course there's always the big issue for any organisation of effective communication. There was a lot of discussion of how we can improve that, both through online registrations and interaction. But I think this whole consultation has hopefully kicked us off for more engagement with the community in the future as we progress these plans.
I attended all 3 of the community forums and found all of them to be excellent. Opportunity to hear more feedback from the community at large, and it's interesting, there's lots of things that council already have on their radar that council are aware of, and that gives you a level of comfort. yet at the same time there are other things that by and large we're probably aware of them, but they've been brought further forward in our thinking and in our mindset to act upon, and most of the things that the community have brought up have been very valid. It's always a fine line with as far as rates go, in that we've got the wishes and dreams of the community and of course of the council for the future of Walkerville and how they can see Walkerville being shaped, and that always comes at a cost. Council's acutely aware that the increase in rates can't be an impost on the community, yet at the same time wants to deliver more services to the community. So once again, a delicate balance for council.
It's quite predictable that people are concerned about their community, and those concerns have come across in the forums. The usual things, the core business that we do. I think it's also shown that people give us credit for a lot more control than we actually have on a whole range of issues, and that shows that perhaps our communication needs to be better in terms of what we do and what we can do and how we can respond to community needs. But certainly it's great that people came along in such numbers, that they're interested in their community and they were prepared to take part in the discussions. I think that's something all levels of government need to do in terms of their community consultation ongoing. People want to be talked to, they want to be included in the decision making process, and they want to be listened to. And I think those are the things that came out very strongly.
To me, I think the strategic plan is moving in the right direction with the community consultations, but I feel that some of the residents did not seem to be aware of what council was doing, and perhaps that they need to be made more aware of our website and also how they can get communications from council about different projects and so forth that are happening. It was very evident that some of the people weren't aware that we actually share with other councils and what certain things were about, like East Waste and Hack. So yeah, it was interesting in that, but I think the strategic plan itself was moving in the right direction.
I think having gone through a different process this time to what we've always done, we've got some better responses. I support one of the major elements, which was we have to deliver. It doesn't matter how much we talk, and local government talks a lot, we have to deliver. And I think the first step is the main street, and the next step will be the civic centre. We have to deliver the outcomes as we've stated for the benefit of the community, to an established quality and to a budget. That's what's important.